Hey there everybody, it's Jeff from Frontier, Michigan. I'm going to do a little quick review on the Hankook Dynapro AT2s. Now that I've driven on them for 18,600 plus miles and driven them all 4 seasons, and a little bit of off-road here and there. So, here's what I think of these tires. On-road, well, on-road, dry pavement, not bad, you know. They do what a tire's supposed to do in the dry. Have decent grip, decent cornering. They're quiet, which, you know, for a mild all-terrain tire, I expect them to be quiet. In the rain, their performance is okay. And, I have found that they can break traction, especially if you're trying to accelerate, say, from stoplights or stop signs and the tires touch that wet paint. That paint's slick, so I've had them break loose literally 3 days after buying the truck and it was wet out. Not even trying to. So their wet performance in the rain can be a little questionable. But, you know, as long as you drive conservatively, they do alright. I haven't had any issues hydroplaning, and they seem to evacuate water decently well. Their dirt road performance, dirt, gravel, they seem to be alright. They seem to have adequate grip for, you know, something loose like that. And I guess they're okay for some of the, small hill climbs that I've done. I mean, obviously in two-wheel drive up that one hill I've had on the video on the channel before, they break traction relatively easily, but that's loose surface. Four-wheel drive, that's not an issue. The hill down by the river, that was loose rock and they did alright, but then again I was also in four-wheel drive. Where I think these tires really struggle is their winter performance. They have okay lateral grip, you know, your side-to-side lateral grip is fine. But where I found they really struggle is forward bite when you're trying to accelerate or stop. That's where they really seem to not do well. And I think a lot of that stems from their very passenger car-like tread depth of 10-30 seconds when they're brand new. And so at 18,600 miles, there's not 10-30 seconds to tread on these anymore. In fact, I would probably argue and say that they're at like 6 or 7 30 seconds. And realistically speaking, at 4 30 seconds, you should be replacing your tires anyway. So, that said, I would rate these tires out of 10. I would give them a 6. They're average. They're a great on-road tire. They do alright in the rain. I find their winter performance to be lacking. Now, when I say winter performance, I mean when there's only a couple inches of snow or it's a slushy kind of snow. The lack of tread depth means the tire gets overwhelmed quite easily and they tend to break traction freer. Powdered snow, it's not really an issue. They seem to be okay there. Deep, wet, packy snow, I think their wet, packy snow is worse than their dry powder snow, but that's kind of expected with any tire, really. So their winter performance is the weakest point, and it's because of that lack of tread depth. Now, these are stock size. They're the 265 70-17s. They're 115 load, S rating. Mud and snow, they're 3 peak rating, but I question the 3 peak rating with these tires specifically. They have a tread wear of 520, so they are a harder tire. Not as hard as, let's say, a 600 tread wear. They have a traction of A and a temperature of B, so, you know, a typical all-terrain tire specification. But I am replacing these. These Hankook Dynapro AT2s are not going to be long for this truck. And how short is their life left on this truck? Let's just say before the snow flies this year. So what am I replacing them with? Glad you asked. Going with the General Grabber ATXs. Now these tires are stock size, so they are also a 265/70/17, also a 115 load, but they're T speed rating, so a little lower, but you know, it's not like it's a race car and I'm not going fast. They are 3 peak rated, they're mud and snow rated, and these are made in the US, whereas the Hankooks, I believe, are not made in the US. Nope, they are. Yes, they are. They're US factories, it seems like. But yeah, I just got these in today. I still have to order the other two because there were some other things I ordered for the truck, and there will be videos on that. But I'm in no hurry to get these on the truck and mounted right now. I still have, you know, a couple months before the snow flies, so no rush. So why leave myself broke? But these tires are going to get cleaned up. And when I was looking at tires, the ATXs were actually my first choice of tire over the Cooper Strongholds. And I know I mentioned the Cooper Strongholds, but due to the lack of reviews on them, they're still, to this day, over a year later that those tires have been out, not a good review of the Cooper Strongholds. And they've been out for, like I said, a year. But the General ATXs, I know for a fact, are a proven snow tire. They do really well. It's more aggressive. So yeah, these will likely be what I end up going with when I do get the 33-inch tall size tire. In fact, when I had my Canyon, this is actually what I was going to go with, and I never did. These tires are more known to me than the Coopers are, and I'm just a little hesitant in going with a tire that I don't know a lot about. And for those wondering, yes, I will be doing white letter out because me personally, I like the white lettering, so we're going to bring a little nostalgia here. White letters and a 80s looking tread pattern, but it's an 80s looking tread pattern that works. So, yeah, this is what's going to be going on the truck. And then once the truck is lifted and I got some new wheels to replace, we'll get the bigger size. But I'll be going with an LT load or E-load tire there. Whereas for now, I'm sticking with standard load. These tires on Simple Tire are 237A tire. Which is why, part of the reason why I'm going with them over getting the Coopers in the stock size, because those are like 285 a tire. So I'm saving about $200 for the whole set for stock size with these over the Coopers, and once I'm ready to buy the bigger size, then I'll drop the money on them. So yeah, this will be, the General Grabber ATX will be the tire for the channel. I've had good luck with Generals in the past, and I think these will serve me well. So let's look at them a little bit more close. Kind of rust that there. Bring you guys in a little closer. So you can see the Hankooks here. They don't really have a lot of tread voids there, and good siping though. I will say that they do have good siping on them, but not a lot of depth. Like I said, at 18,000 miles, my pinky finger, tip of my pinky, in that tire, and you can still see my pinky fingernail. So there's literally maybe, I don't know, a quarter inch of tread left on these tires after 18,000. So these Generals, you can see, are much wider and deeper tread voids, so they'll work better in snow, mud than the Hankooks will. And there's a ton of gripping edges on here, so I expect them to do fairly well in rock as well. And they should be good in sandy conditions. I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the trails in off-road parks here in Michigan, they're not super rocky, at least down the lower peninsula where I'm at. They tend to be more flat and more like sand and kind of dirt and mud kind of terrain. Where it gets rocky is up in the UP. And I do plan on making some trips out there once the truck is built. So things like Drummond Island or some of the overland and trails out towards the Keweenaw Peninsula, I would like to get featured on the channel. So yeah, that's a little tire update, a quick little review of the Hankooks. Do I recommend the Hankooks for an everyday driver? Not for me. Not if you really experience a lot of winter like we do here in Michigan. Somewhere down south where it don't snow a whole lot, or at all, sure, they're alright. So I'll say this. I'll give the Hankooks a fair shake here. If you live where it doesn't snow, or it snows very little, the Hankooks are an okay tire for that. They have good on-road manners, they're quiet, they ride well, and they have good dry weather performance, okay wet weather performance. So yeah, as much as I hate them, I will give them a fair shake. I will rate the Hankook Dynapro AT2s as a 6 out of a 10. They're average. They don't really do well at any one thing, but they're not complete junk. So that said, that's what I think of them. And when I get the Generals on the truck, I will also give my first thoughts of them. I haven't had the ATXs, but I have had past tires from General. Like I said, I've had good luck. My favorite tire I've had from the General was the G-Max AS3. They're high performance all seasons. I had them on the old Jeep, and they were pretty good. They actually did well in the winter. They had great grip, high speed rating. So yeah, once I get the second pair of tires, I'll get them mounted on the truck. I'll do my initial thoughts. We'll ride on them, see how they do through winter, which I'm expecting to do well in the winter time. These are one of the very few all-terrains that are studdable. So these will actually take studs. Although that don't mean much because studded tires in Michigan isn't legal unless you're emergency services. So it is what it is. It's a great and awesome day right now. We're in mid-60s, good breeze, it's sunny. We had a bunch of rain come through. Although tonight it's gonna be cold. We got a frost advisory around 2 a.m. It's supposed to get down to 31, so winter is coming. And I don't know if you could tell in the trees, but that tree right there, that small one, is already starting to turn yellow. Some of these other trees are starting to get a little lighter in color as well. So we're at the end of August. We're already starting to see some color change and some colder temperatures on the way. But this has been Frontier Michigan. I'm Jeff. I'll see you guys next time.